most people probably just know the name, and that's good enough. But Marshall is a long-time player in the Wisconsin scene. Moved recently back to Wisconsin after spending a few years out in Seattle. Missed his boys back in Wisconsin, and here he is playing Snake against Sandschloss's Lucina, starting on PS2 for our last set. Let's get it going.
I'm happy to see this. We were kind of like talking about that little shifts in characters and when two different characters plays. I'm gonna be real. I'm seeing Black Tiger versus EXO already on the screen, and I just want to see how things are gonna differ. And I'm actually really curious because we're not really seeing that Steve that we kind of expect from Sandschloss, and it might be maybe we've seen, especially at the top level, how that Steve versus Snake has kind of shifted in that more Snake's favor. I want to see if Marshall can just put on a clinic to either assert himself as a Snake, or if Sandschloss can put on a clinic to assert why this Lucina is still so tried and true and should be so respected in the Wisconsin scene.
Absolutely, I'm excited for it. I don't think I've gotten a chance to see either of these players play on stream for myself to commentate. So first time for everything. Gonna lay Lucina down onto that grenade. Camping on that platform, drop down with that back air, taking that first stock off of Sandschloss. Marshall looking clean to start this set.
Looking clean as Sandschloss wants to try and keep Marshall at that ledge. And yeah, we see those large reaching, those forward smashes, those large bears, these large sword attacks. They're so good for kind of keeping Snake off that ledge to keep him in that exact situation. That might be what Sandschloss is looking for, but he needs to get that one big hit to set up into something strong.
Yeah, and I don't know if those up Bs off stage are gonna be good for Sandschloss in the long run, but short term, Marshall still needs that. Marshall's still holding on to that first stock, but there it goes as that forward air comes out. Maybe back air. Didn't really matter. It was 160.
That's the terrifying thing, is that you can get back to stage so quickly. You could try to cover low with that Lucina back air, and then if things don't work out, you have one of the quickest recoveries, get back to stage, jump immediately off, and cover that high recovery. And that's how Sandschloss is really going to look to take advantage of the Snake. This is why this Lucina has come out instead of the Steve, instead of that tennis player.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, never mind. Sandschloss has gotten a few good hits in, but still at a massive deficit. Yep, calling out with the dancing blade for that air dodge. Yep, there we go. Bouncing around, getting rid of all of those options for Lucina, forcing Sandschloss to wait and approach. And Marshall's just playing at his own pace now.
But I also like how Sandschloss is willing to kind of let the time go. He's willing to let it bide its time, and Marshall's saying he wants to push this advantage. He wants to push the issue.
And that grenade was nice and cooked, hot and ready. Little Caesar's coming at you with those grenades taken off the top, and now you just camp. Just set up those grenades, set up that C4, do whatever you want. Maybe, make yourself a hot pocket. Who cares? Marshall's got all the time in the world, but if Sandschloss is going to keep the pressure up, then Marshall will absolutely oblige with these reversals.
Both these players are cooking, but Sandschloss certainly wants to show that he may not be burned just yet. Wants to cut Marshall off that ledge, but not barely missing it.
The little fly swatter. Marth would have hit those. That little fly swatter that Lucina's got is not long enough to get that Cypher. Just out of range was Marshall. Great spacing. And these ledge interactions are racking up so much damage for Sandschloss right now.
It was oh so close, and even at this point, you might not be getting a kill with the explosion, but when you have an up tilt like that, what does it even matter?
There's something that's so comical about when you run up counter and the other person is just waiting right in your face. You're just looking at each other, just dumbfounded. It's just put your hand on the shoulder.
That's like one of those moments.
We go next.
You're putting the hand on your shoulder, or you're also so focused on something, and then you just look to your opponent. It feels like you're doing that in real life, but you're just doing it in the game. It's just saying really?
Yeah, I guess. There's no reason for Marshall to not be more patient in that situation. Sandschloss is on the back foot, was pushing the entire second part of that first game. You know what? Still, morale is still up. Sandschloss waving into the camera. You don't get to be on stream all that often. Now we're going to a Battlefield version of FD. I'm fine with this. It's brighter, easier to see, much nicer for us. Shout out to these players for being nice to the commentators for once.
Look, I appreciate it. At least we're not on the FD version of Battlefield. Or FD, the battle. I don't know.
FD version of Battlefield. This is so weird. This is so backward. Oh, that was a lot of damage.
The jabs as well that just lock Lucina in place, but finally
go.
There we go. The counter from Sandschloss is actually going to be helping out quite a bit. The grenade though, not going to get the tech off the stage, and Marshall, he is still living.
Marshall just floating back to stage. Now you're not living this.
No, you're not. You're going to get your shield broken. Your life is going to be shattered in front of your eyes.
Okay.
And another counter. But Marshall perfectly happy to just take everything that he can.
Yeah, not going to get much off of that counter, or punishing off of that counter, but still going for it at 0% is crazy. Now 80% onto Sandschloss, managing to get past that single grenade and back to the stage. Marshall to the skies to get back. Still pushing and still holding this lead.
Yeah, that little maneuver that Marshall employed to get down that stage, that fast fall into that neutral air dodge, it is so hard to cover. I'll be honest against this character because it's just so fast. And then there's usually also a grenade that's just always waiting for you. So you're number one having to solve an arithmetic equation, and then you're also having to file taxes during the exact same time.
It's impossible. It's like you were saying, you gotta solve a math test, and then at the back end of it, you have Mike Tyson waiting there, waiting to just throw a haymaker at you.
Dude, that is terrible.
Why could Snake brawl like this? That's the part that disgusts me so much about this character. It's like, yo, I've got a full arsenal, a full bunker of explosives and stuff to throw at you, and then at the back end of it, I'm also an MMA fighter.
No, that's a terrifying thing. You said it best.
And he just camped too. I didn't know he was a seasoned camper as well.
We're at that dangerous stage. You see that little percent that's on the Lucina, that's on Sandschloss. This is one grab away from absolute obliteration at this point.
Little bit of a misspacing on that down smash. Would have taken the stock for sure. Caught Sandschloss with the re-grab. All right, I don't know what you're going for. I mean, I get it, going for the haymakers. Is this anything? Maybe not. Probably not. I don't know.
Oh, I love that reverse dolphin slash. Is it going to send Marshall off the stage? And another one.
Nice.
These angles from the dolphin slash are so good. No, just a slight air dodge. Maybe trying to get a grenade pull or off the cipher, but just a little too far from the ledge.
It's that offstage pressure that is now given Sandschloss. That brought that stock for Sandschloss. I wasn't going to finish that sentence. No one knew where that was going.
No, you brought it back. You brought it back. You got it.
But yeah, it's that offstage pressure where Sandschloss has really been on the forefront of this game. Lost game one, but now keeping the offstage pressure is probably where he will find this game too.
Now we see another grab. I like that option as well because you're kind of expecting that Snake. Whenever he's out there, you're gonna go for that frame one grenade. If you can get something a little bit safer like that grab that's not necessarily gonna hit the grenade, that's when you get your really big positioning. And as you're talking about that offstage situation for Sandschloss, that's where this match is really going to possibly turn into that game number 3.
I'm surprised that Marshall hasn't opted to just hold grenade because Sandschloss has been swinging a lot. And holding that grenade could act as a little shield, but there is no better shield than a bomb on the ground exactly where Lucina lands, and that's all she wrote.
Maybe the best defense was offense all along. Maybe those MMA fighters, anyone else talking about that, or anyone who plays Street Fighter and says you need to get that offense all the way. Maybe they're onto something there.
Yeah, if they can't get up after the hit, I'd say that was pretty successful. And, a C4 is a very successful way to take that set for Marshall. And is that it for us? All right. Yeah. So production says we're done. It's been a pleasure to be with Rifflip. I've been Mochi. Stick around for more Clutch Up 2026.
Top 32 coming up next.